off.
Coach, I guess what did you feel that Tabor did today that allowed him to have his best game so far?
Tabor's a competitor. Really thought early on probably didn't have great field, but competed through it and executed some pitches when he needed to, and found some rhythm there, definitely in the stretch, and made some pitches, and that's a lot closer to the guy we saw the whole fall. Really good start for him.
In terms of him, was it more of him just kind of locating his fastball that kind of really set him up, or what did you kind of feel got him into that?
I think that's where it all starts usually. Yeah, I would say definitely fastball coming.
Two big at-bats for Ty tonight. What you see in those home runs?
Yeah, thought Ty went up there, was very aggressive his first at-bat. Had a good long at-bat. I think it was probably 8 or 9 pitches at least. Guy made a mistake, hit it out. And then the other one, just, it's always fun when you have guys that know how to hit a pitch when it's 3-0. And, it doesn't always work out that way, but he's one of those guys that knows how to catch it out front. And that's usually pretty fun. It's a big run at the time.
How much of a battle was it been for Ty to kind of get back to this point tonight, since he's been out of the lineup and missed some time there for a while?
Yeah, I think he's a guy that's been ready. He's moving on the right pitch now. I don't want to speak for him as far as that goes, but he had a good night tonight. I mean, even Sunday, he didn't have a whole lot to show for his at-bats on Sunday, but he hit the ball hard. And as long as he's moving on the right pitch and hitting it hard, that's good. It's a good sign. I don't know if he's doing anything different. He just has power. He's very aggressive, and he does have real power. And so when he hits it in the air, it's got a chance to go out.
Is that you just chalk it up to a guy like that, just knowing how strong he is and
Yeah.
him knowing it too?
Yeah, there's a lot of guys can hit it on the barrel and it doesn't go out of the ballpark. He hits it on the barrel at the right angle. It's got a chance to go out because he does have raw power, for sure.
Tim, for a big portion of this season, you used a lineup that was a lot of same guys in the same spots. Why have y'all dropped Green down in the order?
He had some injuries. I don't know if you really call them injuries. One time it was a hamstring and was dinged up, and just really felt like to get him going again. It's a good spot for him. Like the idea. Really. If he's coming up after those guys, there's going to be some guys on base for sure, which could be good. But he could slide right back up there just as fast.
Yeah. Is he feeling? Is he 100% now? Is he still
getting
treatment on stuff?
Yeah, I think he's good. He's good.
Coach, how far away is Dylan Carter at this point, do you think?
We're talking about probably being on the active roster this weekend. Whether he'll be in the lineup, we'll see. But definitely, I asked him the top of the ninth, if he could play defense. And we basically said, let's wait till the weekend. So he's cleared. We're in a good spot with him.
And kind of on that same note, Bo Blessy returned this weekend. What did you see from him, and how was he feeling after that outing?
Bo's a little tight today, but it's normal. He hadn't been on the mound against hitters in a long time, and I'm sure he'll be on the board tomorrow.
We talked about fastball a bit, but just the job that, what do you feel about the job just the pitchers in general did, considering, Bush was a top 100 and Wilson's a top 10, and the cleanup kids leading the conference in RBI? Yeah,
and they scored a bunch of runs over there in Abilene, and I thought all those guys executed pitches, and obviously to shorten the game, to be able to shorten the game with Beckler and Robinson is always kind of nice. And Tabor allowed us to do that by giving us 6 innings, and not sure he couldn't have kept going, but he was very efficient. 72 pitches in 6 innings, pretty good.
Coach, just how would you assess the road trip 3-2 in general? Are you satisfied with how you guys came out of that week?
No, I don't think you're ever satisfied. We lost 2 games on the road trip, and last Monday, you go back to last Monday, you'd like to, obviously, you'd like to be in the game, and obviously win the game. And then you had a chance to, win on Sunday, or, at least show up and play good. And we probably weren't real satisfied with that, as you can imagine. And but at the same time, baseball is a very humbling game. I mean, it can be going very good, and you know, for a hitter or a pitcher, and game will humble you in a hurry. And been a lot of guys, you know, get 2 outs in an inning and think the inning's over, and here you go. And same thing with hitters, you know, they get a couple hits and think they got it figured out. And, but getting the guys to California and all that was a good trip, and the trip in Norman again, like it's, but satisfied probably wouldn't be the word. I mean, we're trying to get a little bit better every day, and probably not ever going to be satisfied as far as that goes.
We and you have talked about the depth of depth of talent in the conference this year. Of course, we've talked about these first 4 series a lot. The fact that you're 6-6, but you're still only 2 games out of first place, I guess kind of reflects what you said, that a lot of teams can beat each other up still. Yeah. How do you feel to be 6-6 but only 2 games out of first?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the loss column goes, what you're talking about, and with the opportunities we have in front of us, I think it's right there for the taking. I mean, I think it's time to do that as far as that goes, and go play good baseball. But I'll tell you, I mean, we got a lot of respect for the league. It's, you know, there's never been a day since we've been in the league that it's been easy, and you gotta show up and play good, and got a lot of respect. I mean, the league's good this year. It really is, and and there's been a lot of turnover on the rosters, but teams are playing good and are beating up on each other. And, that could, you know, set people up to play good later, I think, you know, because of the competition in the games.
For you tonight, was the fastball landing in the zone for you?
I feel like early on in the game, I felt like my curveball was more the go-to pitch. Same thing with my changeup. I feel like I had trouble commanding my 2-seam at times, but I figured out my arm slot later throughout the game and had more command with my fastball. So yeah.
Coach Tadlock really talked very highly of you about how well you threw in the fall and before in the preseason. What kind of went awry for you during that time when you were kind of struggling a little bit?
I feel like it was more of a confidence thing with me. Going into this game, I felt like I had more confidence, and it was more of a mentality thing as well. Knowing that I can go out and compete against these guys in this level and just trusting my pitches. So, yeah, I think it was definitely more of a confidence deal and mentality.
So it wasn't necessarily like a specific pitch or...
No, it wasn't that. Just more mental thing.
Was there anything specific that came into this game that maybe just clicked for you that kind of turned that confidence on?
I think it was just feeling that, knowing that I can go out and compete against these guys in this level. So yeah, it was more of that type of deal. So yeah.
Tabor, I know you mentioned you had your 2 pitches going. When did you kind of feel like in a groove, and I guess did you kind of feel like you still had a little bit more at the end of that start?
I feel like when I finally kind of figured out my arm slot with my fastball, I feel like I had better command on, especially with my 2-seam. But yeah, especially, and it worked off with my other pitches as well. Like I had more movement on my changeup and a lot more movement on my curveball as well. I could throw for a strike, and then I could throw it in the dirt for a swing and miss. So, yeah.
Is that something that I guess Coach Gardner talked to you about in the dugout or something, or is that something?
Yeah, we just talked about like having more like a fluid motion, and not being so herky jerky with my windup and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a more like fluid, loose feeling throughout my windup and stretch. So.
Being from Washington, what was it that brought you to Texas Tech?
The coaching staff and definitely the city of Lubbock. It reminds me a lot of my hometown where I'm from. It's a very small town, so it reminded me of a lot of home, and definitely the coaching staff. I love the coaching staff, best coaching staff in the nation.
Who else on the Pac-12 recruited you?
Had a couple schools from Pac-12 at UW. I was committed to them at the time before I committed to Texas Tech, and just felt like it wasn't the right fit for me at the time, and Texas Tech was definitely the right fit for me at the time. So.
I guess with that being said, how did it feel walking off the mound to the applause you got after turning in probably your best performance of the year?
It felt really good. It felt like it was something I could build off of and definitely move on to the next game. So, yeah.
Anything more for Tabor? All right.